So Ro Khanna has been stumping for Bernie Sanders, and, you know, here he is in an interview with Chris Matthews. He's going to respond to the attacks from James Carville on Bernie Sanders, and then he's going to make the case for, you know, what is Bernie's legacy? What is he trying to do? This is good. Take a look.
With me now is U.S. Congressman Ro Khanna of California, who's a co-chair of the Bernie Sanders campaign. Congressman Khanna, tell me about your reaction to Carville says a couple things further. He said Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat. He's an ideologue. He says, this is Carville speaking, it's harder to win with Sanders. Your response, sir?
I'd like to remind Jim Carville about his own history. He ran Harris Wofford's campaign in 1991 in Pennsylvania. Guess what Wofford ran on? On single-payer national health care. So Carville obviously knows it can win. He can win on that. Second, Carville, look at what Carville said about Obama. He said the same exact things. Oh, Obama is rolling the dice. Obama is unelectable. Guess what? Barack Obama was a two-term president. So I would want to know what James Carville has to say about the Wofford win and his comments on President Obama.
I know all about the Wofford win. He overcame a 40-point deficit to beat Thornburg, the former governor. Very impressive research, Congressman Khanna. Very impressive work on your part. You're smiling because you know you really did your homework. Do you think ideology is a smart move for the Democrats to have someone calling for a revolution? Do you think that, I mean, mostly people center-left, center-right tend to be the ones that win these primaries and win these generals. What do you think? Do you think the country's in a mood for an ideological revolution right now?
I think what they're in the mood for is the completion of FDR's New Deal, but a New Deal for the 21st century. And I say Bernie Sanders is an FDR Democrat. Here's what he's talking about. Everyone should have health care. Everyone should have education. Everyone should have basic child care. Basically the things that I had growing up. I represent Silicon Valley. Let me tell you, Bernie Sanders is not talking about nationalizing Apple. There's no way I could represent Silicon Valley and support him if that was the case. He's talking about giving people a basic shot at the American dream and fulfilling the vision from FDR forward.
I love that pitch. I love that pitch. And Ro Khanna is a great surrogate for that reason. He actually is, I think, a little more moderate than Bernie, and he can frame things in a way that doesn't freak out the establishment and the business community. Like, that doesn't sound scary. That sounds totally palatable. And unfortunately, you know, there's this notion of, oh, Bernie Sanders is a radical, Bernie Sanders is an extremist, Bernie Sanders is an ideologue, as they say. And it's like, well, you know, he's actually internationally quite moderate, and his opinions are right smack dab in the center of where the American people are on these issues. So at least by some ways of measuring it, he's a centrist. And what you have here with Ro Khanna is saying, because they're trying to argue now, oh my God, is this going to be like 1972, where the Democrats went too far left and lost? And Ro Khanna's like, no, this is going to be like FDR's 4 elections where he won and couldn't stop winning because the last time America elected a real social democrat, he was unbeatable. To the point where the Republicans were like, you know, I think we should do something like term limits, because if we don't have term limits, the Democrats will never lose an election again because they're just that much better than us. FDR was such a strong political figure that he dragged, you know, Republicans to the position of supporting some social democratic reforms. Think about that. Such a strong political figure and such a winner that he dragged Republicans to social democratic positions. Now, obviously not as many as he supported, but still, they knew they had to make concessions or they were going to keep losing. So I love the framing there. It's 100% correct. And I also love the beatdown of James Carville, because James Carville, listen, he's a reactionary fool. He's a right-wing Democrat at this point. That's what he is. He's a right-wing Democrat. I was on that panel with him at Politicon. And, you know, whenever I spoke about the victories of the left, doesn't count. Those don't count for reasons X, Y, and Z. Those don't count. And he would go back and forth between talking about how we need to be moderate, we need to be moderate, we need to be moderate. And then what does he do? He sprinkles in and we need to elect more women. And so he does the classic, like, let's put a veneer of identity politics over standard corporate centrist neoliberal policies. And it is just the most cynical approach to politics, and I absolutely despise it. And Ro Khanna did do his homework there, as Chris Matthews points out. And he says, well, hold on, you ran somebody back in the day who was running on single payer and won and made up a 40-point gap. So what are you talking about? So, and he did say the same things. Carville went after Obama viciously. So, and Obama obviously won, and they were saying the same, oh my God, he's a socialist, oh my God, he's a Marxist. He wasn't, and even his campaign speeches were much more centrist and full of platitudes than Bernie's are. But the same arguments, oh my God, too far left, oh my God, so extreme, oh my God, so bad. And it's like, these guys have nothing. They have nothing. Their arguments are total trash, and they're flailing, and they're useless. And so I'm happy that, there's finally substantive rebuttals happening to these clowns, and I think Ro Khanna is a great surrogate for Bernie.